I just got such a big connection. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I need to do a live stream about this while all of the channeling and the connections and the electricity and the neuroplasticity is fresh and happening right now in this very moment. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited right now. Oh my gosh, hold on. I didn't even finish securing the tripod properly. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So I just moved into a brand new apartment yesterday. I'm currently. Okay, let me relax and slow down a little bit more. I'm currently a full-time college student right now, staying during the intersession, or what's known as the summer break. I just finished summer semester, 2 classes, and during that time between the spring semester finals and the summer semester, I was in a relationship. It wasn't for me. It taught me a lot of things, but I respectfully ended it, so I did not have to prolong suffering. Now that all of that energy is cleared up and removed, and I'm no longer stagnant, I feel as though my thoughts and my mind and the channel from my higher self, aka the Most High, I'm a very spiritual being, so I'm trying to bring forth the message and also get a degree and teach workshops and have experience to be able to bring the message worldwide and create sustainability for myself. Okay, so with that being said, let me start this off properly after that 2 minutes introduction. I have one of my posters in the back. I just slouched. And again. All right, so now that we are calm, the energy is more centered, I would like to share this because I was at the library for 6 hours. For the last hour, I was working on a future workshop, and I'm finalizing it. I'm hoping to do that by the end of this week, so that all of the things will just be put together, and I could start practicing the pitching or the time it would take to do this. Hello everyone who's joining in the chat. Thank you for whoever liked the live stream. But this is going to be a big explanation, so I'm not really going to look at the chat or answer questions that are off topic. Let me just say that, okay? I don't normally address the chat because it takes my focus off. But introduction out of the way, 3.5 minutes now. I'm going to speak as a holistic health practitioner now and share how the religious and the scientific comes together, which is spirituality and holistic health as the bridge, okay? So if you're not familiar with these things, just sit tight. I'm going to explain everything. I have posters, and in the future, you all will be seeing my workshop, okay? Because I live stream every single workshop. My last few live streams, the last 4 of them that I have on my channel, are literally presentations or the workshops themselves, okay? So I deleted a lot of the personal and complaining live streams and just extra information that I didn't need to share. So a lot of what I will be posting on Facebook and YouTube, those are my professional social medias for me being a holistic health practitioner, but also to show like, hey, this is information that's free. I do, take clients. I do take people who would like to work on personal training or life coaching or energetic clearing, things like that. Sorry, there's like a loose hair on my arm. Yeah, I would like to just share all of it together now. So with that being said, all right, holistic health is non-pharmaceutical, not medical, okay? It is medical in terms of educating and getting to the root of the issue using biohacking and neuroscience. And that's the same exact thing that I do as a personal trainer and as a life coach who has information backed by neuroscience, right? So now moving forward, right, holistic health is looking at all of the things that we have, and I have a handout for this to help better explain it, actually. Let me, oh, go right out. Okay, so bear with me 1 second here. But this is my experience. Oh, actually, I forgot to flip it. Hold on. This is my experience. This is what I show, like on the second slide of every workshop I teach. So you can pause to kind of read that. But in addition to this, I've also taught 2 staff meetings over the summer at my college. So, with that being said, let me get the handouts so we're all on the same page, right? 1 second. Okay, there are different dimensions of wellness that holistic health covers and looks at. So they are emotional wellness, environmental wellness, I'm reading it, financial wellness, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. So with those dimensions in mind, holistic health looks at different ways to help you identify and grow your strengths and your gifts and your talents with holistic health, right? And then I give examples of life coaching. This is a handout to help you track daily, like your mental health and your energy levels. And then I have a personal trainer daily health tracker. You could do it like a food diary, or you could do it like a fill in the blank. These are the images to fill out in each section. Thank you for the second like, I appreciate that. And then I go over stuff during the workshops about benefits of holistic nutrition. Again, if you've watched my previous live stream workshops that I have posted, you have already seen and heard this information, but this is the handout I wanted to definitely show you guys. So according to ScienceDirect.com, holistic health is defined as a healing approach that emphasizes the balance and harmony among the body, mind, and soul, as well as the individual's relationship with their environment and the universe. And then I added in there, this is also the concept of the web of life, which is a shamanic belief and practice to maintain and uphold the web of life, because if you do so, the environment, all individuals' relationships with the environment, and your body, mind, and therefore soul will be in harmony together with the earth as one, like all the animals, all the insects, all the plants, all the, the air and the water and the people, all of it, right? Every living organism on earth is in the web of life, right? Okay, so with holistic health, it is based on the belief that well-being is a natural state achieved through this balance listed above, also known as medical empathy. So now that we are defined and all on the same page, again, with holistic health, we can understand, therefore, that by using neuroscience and biohacking, aka calming down the sympathetic nervous system, activating the parasympathetic nervous system from that fight, flight, freeze, fawn sympathetic state to the more calm parasympathetic rest, digest, recover, and reflect, right? So those are parts of the autonomic nervous system. So the more calm, collected, centered or balanced that we are through holistic health and through spiritual practices instead of pharmaceutical and more Western medicine, you could say, because a lot of countries, especially Asian countries, have whole philosophies, religions, and specific diets and beliefs around community that uphold the web of life, but also maintain that spiritual balance, that spiritual harmony within community. Now, am I saying people are perfect, societies are perfect, countries, governments are perfect? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying there's a perfect religion? No, I'm not saying that, because religion is man-made at the end of the day. Hence why I'm talking about spirituality and holistic health, because those are basically the same things. They just discover or explore different parts of how to get to the root of the problem, right? So with spirituality, it does have a large emphasis on psychology, energy, and and sensitivity. With holistic health, it has an emphasis, like it said, on medical empathy, which can also be said as being sensitive, but being sensitive to specific things, right? Medically, right? So holistic health focuses on those 8, dimensions of wellness, as well as, I guess I could just say, as well as biohacking, or finding out ways to do things outside of going to a, primary care physician, or getting blood work done, or taking prescribed medications or pills, right? With holistic health, they focus on, okay, are you getting enough exercise? Are you getting enough sunlight, that vitamin D? Are you able to meditate to, activate that autonomic nervous system, that parasympathetic nervous system, so that your mind and your hormones become balanced? Because when you have that emotional regulation, as well as the physical regulation and discipline in your life, you're able to literally have a more calm outlook on life. You're not triggered at all if you're able to take a step back and reflect, instead of being really tuned in and kind of like having tunnel vision on something specific that triggered you, a specific conversation or a specific person, for example. And holistic health as well plays a part in focusing on your sleep and your diet habits. A lot of holistic health specialists or holistic health doctors are people like nutritionists, herbalists, I would say dietitians, but if you're tracking your nutrition, that means you're, maintaining a certain diet or a certain lifestyle, let's say, right? Because again, diets are also man-made. Like, every person does not follow the same diet. One diet that works for you, say if you want to be a carnivore and just eat a lot of meats and have a lot of focus on protein, then that might not work for someone like me, who doesn't even believe in eating animals, to be quite frank. And I don't even eat fish as often. I used to just be a pescatarian, but now I've switched over to the more Mediterranean diet, but I don't eat a lot of seafood, for example. Like, I'll have shrimp rarely nowadays, like once a year, I'm talking rarely, or twice a year. And then I don't eat specific fish that are like bottom feeders. I don't eat octopus. I don't eat catfish. I don't really eat shrimp that often. And even the types of fish, I have a lot of fish that are that have a lot of omega-3s in them. So salmon and sardines, top 2, I believe, or top 3, but I know salmon is the most fatty and omega-3 rich fish out there. And then I sometimes have tilapia, for example. But a lot of my diet is plant-based and fruit-based. So I don't really eat out that often. And I don't really have processed foods or foods that are fried. For example, I do a lot of cooking or baking as well, because a lot of stuff has dairy in it, and I'm mostly lactose intolerant. The closest thing I can have to dairy is like Greek yogurt, because it's ultra filtered and it is probiotic and it has a lot of calcium in it. So those things, again, like, I have a Mediterranean diet, but I do have a few things that I'm still, um, practicing nutritionally that would block me from being a full-on vegan, for example. I have tried the vegan diet, but anyway, off that tangent. Holistic health practitioners, again, are people like nutritionists, herbalists, holistic health doctors, are chiropractors and acupuncturists and forgot to say stretch therapists, as well as massage therapists, aromatherapists, people again that just help you move your body, help you maintain that balance, health coaches, personal trainers, life coaches, right? To a certain degree, psychotherapists, but again, with that has to do with energy and like generational trauma, and as well as diet, because if you're not having a balanced diet, that could lead to brain deficiencies. Just like if you're not going outside regularly, getting enough sunlight, your brain becomes hormonally imbalanced. That's why people in the wintertime, at least for 3 to 4 months out of the year, I would say, get seasonal affective depression, or SAD is the acronym, but people mostly know it for seasonal depression, right? And their brain is not able to fully function properly just due to the lack of social interactions and the lack of sunlight, okay? So we have to pay attention to our biology and our neuroscience, right? To be able to get into the biohacking, to be able to access more of our brain, right? And just naming all the stuff about holistic health and ways to better yourself and focus on yourself in different ways, you understand that stress management is a part of holistic health, right? Managing your energy levels and your social habits and relationships is a part of holistic health. Just like having a proper amount of sleep every single night is something that plays a big role in your digestion, in your hormonal balance, in your ability to process cognitively, cognitive function, right? All of these things play a part. They go hand in hand. Just like sleep is important, just like hydration is important. And I'm gonna drink some water after, bringing that up. Because we are between, depending on your body composition, right? But we are between 65 to 75% water, okay? Again, depending on your body composition, you can look it up and see the percentage of water that you are and the amount of water intake that you need to have. But in the summer, realistically, 2 liters of water a day, 1.5 to 2 liters of water a day is important. And this bottle, let me read. This is 1 liter of water. If I fill this up completely, because I'm reusing this glass bottle, is 1 liter of water, right? So if I fill that up and have water and then fill it up again and put electrolyte powder in it and drink that water, that will be good for the day for me. And then I don't really drink sodas or teas or, again, like processed foods. I also don't have a lot of processed drinks. The closest thing to that would be having red wine or a healthier wine, something not sweet, right? Or if I do get juice, I dilute it a lot. Like I'm looking, I looked over to the left of me because there's a grape juice that I have, just non-refrigerated because I didn't open it yet, but that has a lot of sugar in it because it's technically processed. So I would have like ice cubes or just, again, dilute it with water and then be able to drink it. Because I have been on this holistic health journey for a decade now, I started watching documentaries and doing research in high school my junior year, and then I tried to become vegan, and then it was difficult with my family and the diets and the cooking habits that they had, so I became vegetarian, and then it turned to pescatarian, and you heard the rest of my explanation earlier about my diet and my nutrition. today. So I do take a lot of supplements. I will say that because sometimes I'm just working on stuff as a college student and also trying to have a what's called reflective resume as a holistic health practitioner, so that by the time I finish my college degree, I will also have the same amount of years of experience. So I'll have the degree and the experience by the time I'm finished. And my community here, after moving to the city and dorming on campus, has opened up a lot of connections and a lot of different channels, you could say. And I'm refining the information and collecting more and more things, while also pulling in information that is like from the clevelandclinic.org or from Harvard Health, .edu. So this information is already out there, but it's not put together and publicly taught enough. Like right now I live in Oklahoma. That is one of the states that, depending on the year, is either number 1 or number 2 in the least educated, the lowest reading scores, and the lowest comprehension levels across the country. Okay? So I'm literally physically doing the work of helping the world and also doing the work of personal sustainability and having, building a legacy. Let me just say it that way. Building a legacy, right? So that is why I want to talk more and go live more, teach workshops more, because it's going to help me be able to put together the information that's already out there. But I'm channeling it and finding the connections to where religiously, right? I know I said I'm not a religious person, but religiously, these things are also backed. And eventually I'm going to be able to purchase a lot of what is considered holy texts and be able to speak on these things in more depth. And one of the workshops that the very first one that I publicly taught was at a wellness center in Oklahoma. I have that live stream on there, so I'm not going to share too much information about that, but I have the poster from it that I made. And in these religions, right, these are the main ones that talk about the importance of the heart and keeping your spirit or your mind balanced, right? So to just briefly go over this, but also not briefly because I have to explain it and it takes a little minute to explain. Excuse me. So there are hundreds of religions, by the way. So these are just kind of the main religions that people are at least familiar with or, culturally practice, because a lot of these are, again, like specific to a region or specific to a culture, although religion can be practiced by anyone because it is man-made, as long as you are respectful and reverent to what that religion practices, I will say. So going forward, right, this is the heart, right? And then I'm going to get into the science of what the heart does and produces. So this is the religious explanation of holistic health and how it connects to religion, and then I will go over more of the scientific / spiritual, as some people may say, explanation of why holistic health matters and why being balanced, again, in your mind, body, and soul is the bigger picture of life, is the only thing that is quote unquote necessary in life. Okay? All right. So with the religious meaning and beliefs around the heart, these religions of Taoism or Taoism, Kemeticism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, and Hinduism all speak on the importance of the heart. Now, I'll just say the holy texts and the kind of overall beliefs of them, but you could see, whoops, sorry, I'm not looking at my camera, I'm just kind of in front of it, so you can kind of see this, but again, I did go over this in a workshop that I did live stream, so just kind of look through my YouTube. I am trying to rearrange it to have the more professional videos on a playlist and the live streams to be mostly educational, okay? So I am saying my YouTube channel right now, as of the end of July, is a work in progress, okay? But starting off here, with Taoism or Taoism. Their core beliefs are of balance and harmony that work towards a universal whole. The balancing forces of yin and yang, as seen in this picture, a lot of people recognize this as the yin and yang symbol, of course. So the balancing forces of yin and yang represent light and dark, action and inaction, feminine and masculine, hot and cold, as principles or things that they focus on and follow. So all are connected and nothing makes sense by itself. In Taoism, they believe that all animals and humans should live in balance with the Tao or the universe. So Taoism, Tao. There's explanation. And the holy texts are the Tao Te Ching and the Chuang-Tzu. Sorry if I mispronounced them, but this is a Chinese culture and religion that spread from there, okay? So then from this one, we want to talk about Kemeticism and this root word being Kemet, which is what is modern day Egypt. Before the name was colonized, it was Kemet before Egypt, okay? So this is the Ankh, this is the universal symbol for Kemet or Kemeticism. It is also Hermeticism, I believe, is something that practices these same principles. If I were to talk about a religion, it would be a mix of Hinduism and Hermeticism that I do follow. But hence me saying I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person, because they all have a form of truth and a form of things that connect their topics or the things that are in their core beliefs. They're all surrounding the heart and the importance, again, of balance with the mind, body, and soul, okay? So the Kemeticism's fundamental principle can be summarized as know thyself. And what does that mean? To know thyself teaches to have everyone understand that the divine spark is within all beings. Otherwise, the creator is like the divine spark, the creator, the thing that gives you life. Okay, so to know thyself is to know the god or goddess, which is Neter in their language. So self-knowledge allows you to access that divine that is already present within you. All right, so this is to know thyself is to know the divine and cosmic order, which is also known as Ma'at. So maintaining Ma'at is to remain in truth, justice, and order or cosmic balance. And this is from the Nile Valley in Kemet. All right, very, very old stuff that we're talking about, right? Nothing new, okay? And then moving on to Islam, right? So I have certain text here that, specifically talks about the heart and the body and the mind, right? So quoting the Quran in, I'm guessing these are like chapters and verses, I'm assuming. So in chapter 2, verse 10, it said, in summary, this text shares how a disease in the heart is from habitual lying. So lying to yourself, otherwise known in Islam, Allah is the creator. So lying to others, yourself, or Allah is what creates disease in your heart or sickness, okay? And then in chapter 22, verse 46, it says, for indeed it is not the eyes that are blinded, but blinded are the hearts which are within their chest. A blind heart leads to that person going astray as if they are blind physically. So in Islam, that is the belief that you must maintain that soft heart, that purity of heart, that truthfulness of your heart and your mind, so that you just go through life honest and caring of others, I would say. All right, so that is just, again, to connect with the heart and the body and the mind in balance, okay? And then with Christianity, so again, you could read where this is from, really old stuff, again, that we're talking about. And then with Christianity, though, right, this is where it developed, really old stuff too. In Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything that you do flows from it. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16, do you not know that you yourself are God's or the Creator's temple? God's Spirit dwells within you. And then Luke chapter 17, verse 20 through 21 says, Jesus or Yeshua replied, "The coming of the kingdom of God is not something that can be observed, nor will people say, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is,' because the kingdom of God is in your midst." This passage explains how the kingdom is within the people of God. Those who give unconditional love and follow the teaching / example of Yeshua or Jesus would be bringing heaven on earth, or the kingdom of heaven down to earth. So a lot of these texts, I will say, in the Bible, because this is Christianity's holy text, is the Bible, like the Quran is for Islam. A lot of these things in the Bible are metaphorical or have a double meaning to them. So of course, they're saying that you yourself are God's temple, right? So that's saying that you could speak and share the energy of God or of the Creator, because it is supposed to live within you. That is why it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it, right? So these verses, they're saying the same thing. And also with Kemeticism, they believe to know thyself is to know the Creator or God, aka Neter, right? So a person's heart is their own God or their own Neter. So you already have the kingdom of heaven within you, as Kemeticism lays out, and also as Christianity lays out. That was Yeshua or Jesus's message, is that, hey, you don't have to go through someone else or do a physical ritual, excuse me, sorry. You don't have to do a physical ritual or go to someone physically to receive that energy and that vibrancy and that spark of life, right? That electrical connection that we have from the Creator. It is something that is already within us. We just have to maintain that balance, again, of the mind, the body, and the spirit, right? Okay, and then with Sikhism, let me make sure it's in focus here. Okay, with Sikhism, their beliefs from the holy text is the Guru Granth Sahib. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this. But on page 1350, 1350, it says, the creation is in the Creator, and the Creator is in the creation, totally pervading and permeating all places. There's only one breath. All are made of the same clay. The light within is all the same. So again, the same messages that Christianity, Islam, Kemeticism, and Taoism or Taoism say is exactly the same as Sikhism, or that Sikh religion, is saying. Again, the messaging and the wording and the examples from each religion may be different. However, they are all saying the same thing and highlighting the importance of the heart, the purity of the heart, and the balance of order and harmony within all beings, right? So the essential message of Sikhism, to continue, is spiritual devotion and reverence to God at all times, practicing ideals of honesty, humility, compassion, equality, social justice, generosity, and being of service to humanity. I just wanted to share more about this one from Sikhism, because a lot of people don't even recognize Sikhism as a religion. They see it as purely a cultural thing to practice. But again, anyone can be a practicer or a believer of any religion, as long as you follow the guidelines or principles of that religion and respectfully, emphasis on respectfully, share your religion in community with others. Not talking about extremists, not talking about people who want to create division, not talking about people who go to a seminar or see something online and then they want to just cherry pick the things that they liked about it or the things that stuck out to them. Not talking about that at all right? So again, these are just the messages. Okay, and then Hinduism, which is why I said I'm kind of a cross between these two. But Hinduism, people recognize the symbol, and a lot of things about the chakras and a lot of things about meditation comes strictly, like yoga, comes from Hinduism or the Hindu/Indus River Valley region. Okay, again, nothing new, very old stuff. Their holy texts are the Vedas, and then people also reference the Bhagavad Gita. Highly recommend anyone who has issues with letting things go, with forgiveness, with anger, with being triggered a lot. I would highly recommend reading the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so going back to Hinduism here. The heart is the main aspect and source of all our faculties as embodied souls, not just for breathing, but as the power behind all that we do or think, the way we truly speak or express ourselves. The heart is the source of our entire being and the link to the divine or the creator. The heart is both our individual existence, known as Atman, as well as our place of unity and connection within the cosmic existence, known as Brahman. In text, the heart, when fully open, is shown as a blooming lotus. The symbolic lotus is also considered as the center of consciousness and seat of realization. This realization of the self in the heart is the main form of liberation, also known as moksha, bringing bliss and purity. So, that is the connection from Hinduism to the heart and the soul, basically, right? Now, we talked about the religions that highlight the aspects of holistic health, being the importance of the heart and the balancing of the mind, body, and soul on a universal level. Now, I would like to share the scientific backing or the scientific reasoning behind why this is important. Why is the energy that we hold and our aura and or toroidal field or biofield, as the scientific term will state, why is it important that we protect our hearts and balance our minds? Why? I'm going to take a little break. Think about it. Here, counter. All right, so why is this important, right? Oop. Camera focus, please. So why is this important? All right. Scientifically, now we looked at the religion, we looked at the holistic health. Why is this important? Okay, so scientifically, and again, I go over this entire poster in the workshop that I did at the Wellness Center when I first started teaching workshops. All right, so this is a little reminder of it, but I will go ahead and flip the camera again. So, and this again, speaking about the chakras in Hinduism and certain religions talking about the importance of the heart, right? These things are speaking on our energy. And if you look at the Hindu chakra systems, right, they are all related to the higher and lower parts of our bodies or our energy centers. As you can see here, this is someone's aura or biofield, and I'm going to explain everything. We're just going in parts, so just walk with me here, right? Just hold on a moment if you feel lost. But the chakras, when they're open, are energy centers that allow energy to flow freely. So we are not in that fight or flight reaction. We are not in that emotionally, hormonally unbalanced reaction. We are not in that dehydrated, tired, fatigued reaction, right? This is the exact opposite of that, in fact, okay? So when you look at the lower chakras, you're looking at these colors, you know, on the three here, and then the higher chakras are these four here. So as you can see, the heart, or, you know, where it is in the chest, that's the heart. So that's the middle of the chakra centers, okay? So the lower chakras is the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus. And you can look up those energy centers and see the specific organs or body parts that is related to those energy centers or chakras, okay? And then the higher chakras after the heart, as we went over the green, is the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakras, okay? So you could see that when these energy centers are open or activated or in use, it creates these rainbow or brighter colors around your aura, and this creates a shield with your energy. Okay, so let me explain it. Right, this is the scientific and religious explanation of protecting your energy. Right, perfect example. Now this is the biomedical or the scientific biological explanation of our energy, which again, right, we just went over it. This big circle is also known as the aura, the auric field, human biofield, or toroidal field. So on the left side here, we have the energy or the pumping of the heart, right? A strong heart, a heart that has energy flowing through it freely, right? No disease, no sickness, nothing blocking it, right? On the left, we have BPM or beats per minute. And then on the right, we have the beta waves, which is the measured in frequency or hertz, right? So you could see this is the medical tracking or scanning of the heart. And when you are able to understand this or look at this, like from a, physical perspective, I guess you could say, is your ability to understand how your heart is activating the energy around your aura or your auric field. So this, right, this circle and this cone shaped stuff at the bottom, this is the scientific visual, and I do apologize, it's not as detailed because it is behind this person, but you could see the energy that is flowing. So it's going out, around, and back through. So that's the circle. It's looping right there. Okay, so their energy is going out and around them and can go back through, right? So that's the same thing here. So again, you can measure your auric field, your biofield, or your toroidal field, these scientific terms, by beats per minute or beta waves measured in frequency. So if your heart is, again, going back to those religious texts and understanding of the specific principles behind each religion, if your heart is open, soft, pure, and your mind and your spirit and your body and all of these things are aligned and in balance with the universe, your energy or your aura will be bright, will produce, good energy on the right, good frequency, will produce healthy levels and records from your heart. Okay, so going from these two, right, these top two, you can understand that when someone is imbalanced, right, they are in balance, right? Two balanced, strong, interacting auras or human biofields create harmony. They create a resonance that is healing or that is purifying, you could say, right? So someone who is, let's go back to the examples of, right, of holistic health practitioners or holistic health doctors, right? If someone who is, let's call this an acupuncturist, right? If their aura and their biofield is balanced, open, and strong, that person who interacts with them is able to also have a strong, connected, and open aura or biofield. So that's why whenever you see an acupuncturist and they, do their medicine, right? Medicine, but when they put the needles in at the specific points and release that energy, you are able to have a healthier aura because your body is healthier and your energy flows freely again instead of being blocked, right? And then same thing when you see a chiropractor, their energy is open, is calm, their nervous system is regulated, their mind is sharp, is balanced. They're able to, do the process of realigning or aligning, however your needs are, with the severity of each case, right? But after you go to the chiropractor and they align you, right, your aura is able to be open and your body and your energy is able to feel better because it is more freely flowing, it is more aligned, it is more in balance. Okay, so then moving from this example, right, even this could be anyone, I'm just sharing about holistic health practitioners and doctors, right? Because after you see them, you're going to feel more in balance, you're going to feel more open, you're going to feel stronger. Okay, right? So this is the visual example of this, right? So this is the same thing if you see someone who like on my example, right, with life coaching or a personal trainer, someone who is helping you realign and balance your energy physically, mentally, spiritually. You could see a clergy member, and if they're able to help you balance your nervous system and get that clarity of mental clarity, right, then they're able to help you just the same with your biofield, your energy, however you want to say it, but they're able to help you feel better after interacting with their aura, is the point. Okay, so then now, what is the opposite of this, and why is energy and the scientific, right, the scientific process and readings of our energy or of our heart, why is that important? Okay, so going on from this is regulated, strong, balanced, interacting people, right? The opposite of this is what is known as chaotic energy between two people. This is an example of two people in an argument, you could see. But this is the same. The frequency emitting from their heart is the same frequency energetically, right? So when coherent energy between two people, is exchanged, it is neutrally charged and content, right? So that's what it looks like. Right? Two people interacting, neutral or content energy. Okay? Healing energy, right? When it's open and bright like this, right? Okay? So when it's chaotic energy, it it activates the sympathetic nervous system response. So that fight, flight, freeze, fawn, that is what it looks like energetically. And this is not the same. I'm not saying this is this. This is a strong, open, energetically charged frequency that is a high frequency. This is not the same thing. I don't want you guys to get confused while you're following this. This is just simply static energy or chaotic energy. That is why they also say that phrase, do we have static? Do we have an issue? Do we have a problem? When it's something that is unspoken, because you're feeling that chaotic or, again, static energy being sent towards you or being directed at you. If it's not a physical thing being said, it could just, again, being a glance or a mean look or someone trying to physically intimidate you in whatever way, right? So again, this is the activation of that sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. This is the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest, reflect, digest, digesting your food, I'm saying, but, and recover. Okay, so this is literally an example: sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, opposite of this energy, right? Opposite of this religious, spiritual, soul balance, right? Okay, so following all of this, right? This is why it is important to ground ourselves, and that's what I covered in the bottom of this poster board, but also in that workshop again that I taught at the Wellness Center. I brought together our biofield and our auras with the Earth's frequency and the Earth's electromagnetic biofield, which is known as the Schumann resonance. And the energy from the Schumann resonance is at 7.83 hertz when it is balanced, and just nature is in tune with the frequency of everything, right? So that's something that can change, but this is the baseline, 7.83 hertz. Now, what you could do to check the frequency that is being emitted from the Schumann resonance, aka the Earth's electromagnetic biofield, right? is to check on a Schumann resonance counter or Schumann resonance tracker, because as we have been going through the last few years, specifically the last 2 years, there have been spikes in the Schumann resonance. There have been, different numbers that, like with the frequency, the Hertz frequency, right, that we saw here. The Schumann resonance has spikes where the energy is really, really high, and it creates something called, I did a live stream tracking it one day last year, actually, but I was looking through all of the different spikes and the different terminologies and names behind it, but I believe it's something like related to astro weather, or there's a specific term for it, but it's like where people get sick or they feel just off energetically, and then they go to the doctor and they're like, well, you're fine, you're not sick, you're not having anything irregular in your levels other than, like, let's say high blood pressure or high cortisol levels, right? Because when that anxiety and stress and that sympathetic nervous system is activated, your cortisol levels go up and your body physically changes, all right? So, and I have a handout for that, but look into this if this piques your interest, looking up the Schumann resonance and what the energy frequency is at for the day-to-day basis. But again, this is something that I covered and how it's all connected in a separate workshop, okay? So that is a scientific explanation as well as the religious explanation. And to just summarize it and put it together with another handout. One moment, I will bring it all together. Okay, I have 2 handouts actually that I want to share really quick, because this was literally from the last presentation workshop that I did. I believe it's titled for the SSS or something like that. But this was showing the examples of the activation of the parasympathetic versus the sympathetic nerves or nervous system, right? Talking about the autonomic nervous system. So when your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, it constricts your pupils, stimulates saliva, slows down your heartbeat, constricts airways, stimulates activity in your stomach to help with digestion, right? Stimulates your gallbladder, your activity in your intestines, and contracts your bladder. So this is I'm sorry, it was a little bit off. As I read that, I'm so sorry. I just looked at the camera, so I was like, way down there. My apologies, but you can see a little bit clearer what the rest, digest, reflect, and recover looks like with your parasympathetic nervous system, right? When this is activated, then your body calms down and functions as it needs to. When, your sympathetic nervous system is activated, it dilates your pupils, it inhibits salivation, increases your heartbeat, relaxes airways, inhibits activity in the stomach, gallbladder, intestines, relaxes the bladder, and secretes epinephrine and norepinephrine. So you can see little pictures of the organs and things that are related to it, as well as remember the chakra systems and where it is in your body. So you could literally map with your organs and with your energy centers where issues lie, right? So all these things, right, below, let's say, below your belly button is your sacral chakra and your root chakra. So then you could look, okay, am I having issues in my stomach, bladder, liver, kidneys, intestines, whatever. And you could say, okay, you have issues in these parts of your energy centers. Okay, let's look at the specific organs within those energy centers, right? Just like if it's something within your throat chakra, of course, it'd be issues with your throat or related to your thyroid or your self-expression. And you could say, oh, you have a block in this energy center. Let's look at the specific parts of the body that are being, well, not that are being, but that are underactive or not able to function properly, okay? And then just the same, if someone has an issue with their crown chakra, that is something specifically related to their brain or their hair, for example. But that is something that you could look at physically and see, all right? So again, we looked at the energy and, you know, the different waves and the straight lines, but this is, again, the biomechanical, scientific, biological explanation of sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system activation and what it does, okay? So now, let me get a second hand out before I forget, actually. Because I just flipped the camera around, but, excuse me. Oh, there's the paper. It was paper clipped. One moment while I kind of shuffle my stuff around here. And thank you for everyone who's being patient. Okay, so lastly, since I talked about frequency and energy levels, right? Let me just bring out this portion board again. Right, so why is it important to calm your energy, to balance and open up your heart spiritually, right? Why is this energy between people in relationships to others, why is this important? Why is the Schumann resonance important, right? Excuse me, right? So when this is at this 7.83 hertz frequency, and you connect with the Earth's electromagnetic biofield, you connecting your biofield with the Earth's biofield, right? You are then going, right? That 7.83 hertz is what? The theta waves brain stage. And what is this? Visualization, trance-like states, dreaming, resting. This is right before you go into that REM sleep cycle. So this is also a meditative, right? They have it here in the alpha waves, but this could also be said to be a meditative, aka trance-like state in the theta waves, energy levels, right? Because this is close to 8, so that's why it's going to say it kind of that meditation and relaxation state, because it's very close. But of course, in that theta wave state, again, this is what your energy or your frequency looks like in terms of hertz, okay? So when you ground physically with the earth, you are putting your brain into the theta wave state simply by connecting with the earth's electromagnetic biofield. So what does that mean? I will explain it a little bit more now. After I put this, Jesus, poster is like, there's nothing behind it, it'll literally just slouch. I don't like that. One moment, two. Okay. All right. Let me just put this one more handout back, and then we can get on with this. Here it is. Okay. So, as an aura specialist or holistic health practitioner, aura specialist is what I have on my business cards, and I can show an example of it actually. So this is what I put. This is my very first business card that I made, and there's my photography of these beautiful magnolia lily cherry blossoms. But I put that I'm an aura specialist, and you know, all my stuff, but I'm here to help you align your mind, body, and soul. And there's the contact email if you want to pause it. But literally helping people understand their auras and their specific energy that they are emitting from looking at the religious and scientific explanation of things, as well as being a spiritual mentor. Because once everything is aligned, mind, body, and soul, then you are able to have that open, bright, energetic aura, okay? and we're getting to the hour mark, but I finally am able to explain this and what I do. And that's why I have so much kind of like dense information on my business cards. And then my most recent one I have is holistic health practitioner / grounding coach, and it has a QR code that goes to my Linktree, and then the Linktree has how you can pay, educational playlist from my YouTube channel, but also it has like a little bit more explanation on grounding, because it has like a little picture as the I think it's on the right hand side of the business card, but it has like the benefits of grounding as from, I believe, the clinic, the Cleveland Clinic for Health, I believe. I have to look at the card, but anyway, it shows the benefits of grounding, how it naturally helps you get into that parasympathetic nervous system activation and that theta waves, alpha or theta waves, brain hertz frequency. Okay, so with that being said, right, the physical, mental, and spiritual benefits of grounding are this. Grounding is walking barefoot on grass, sand, or dirt, syncing with the cycles of nature by waking up before the sun rises and watching it, or going outside and watching the sunset before it sets. Sun gazing at noon when the sun is directly overhead, as well as another example, a way to get that vitamin D, that mental balance, right? Make sure your cognitive function is boosted, like I shared before. Hiking or walking for long time spans, 45 minutes or longer, or if you have, a whole day where you spend outdoors, fantastic, amazing. Also, you can meditate or read by a tree, or, meditate and walk in a forest to release stress. Hugging a tree and deep breathing for a few minutes is also a grounding practice. And all of these practices use the frequency of the Earth's electromagnetic biofield, again, right, of 7.83 hertz frequency to help us calm down and become grounded, right? So in terms of our electromagnetic frequency, again, I just went over it with the handouts, but 7.83 hertz is the theta waves brain state. So this is the same as our body being in a deeply relaxed, meditative, envisioning, and full body calm state. So it is also the internal state of us going from, again, that fight or flight freeze, sympathetic response of our nervous system to the rest, reflect, digest, recover response of the parasympathetic nervous system. So we are grounded back to our roots and the energy of the earth when we physically ground ourselves. Okay? That's why this is all important. Because our energy emits from our heart, emits from all of our energy centers, all of the parts of our body, right? Emit an energy. And what is in that energy is sent out and felt to others. So when more of us are in balance, in harmony, in that big, bright, open aura, that energy, right? More people around us will feel that pull of positive energy, of grounded energy, of balanced energy. That is why they say energy is contagious and the bad apple ruins the bunch, because when one person is negative and someone else picks up on it and they don't do anything to change, right, to biohack, to breathe deeply, to ground, then it travels to other people, especially if it's something like family, a close relationship, or if you're in that environment all the time, like you're going to class and you just have this negative group of people. That is going to physically and spiritually, mentally, however you want to word it, but all of those things will become affected long term if you do not do something personally to change your energy, to redirect where your energy is going, to biohack and use neuroscience to change the state that you are in. Okay? So that is why holistic health is so important. That is why spiritual practices are so important. But that is why science and religion are saying the same thing. When you understand and look at it from a holistic or a spiritual perspective, you can understand that they are literally saying the same thing. People just don't understand their body. all right? Because we are blood, plasma, water, and electricity. That's from a personal trainer perspective. I could say that. That is literally what we are. Boil it down to the end of everything. We are plasma, blood, water, and electricity. So when we are not fueling ourselves with the proper energy, having enough sleep, drinking enough water, where is it? Forgot I moved my bottle over there. But when we are not doing that, we are physically depleting and draining our energy and our own health. All right. And I have a video as well on how relationships and dating psychology affects our aura. I have a video on what a bright, open, flowing aura, flowing energy looks like versus a closed off, dense, stagnant aura, or just drained aura looks like. I have examples of that posted again on my YouTube. I think there are like around 10-minute videos, but those were directly from what I posted on TikTok before I deleted my account, and I posted it on here. Now this information is beneficial because I've explained everything enough. But if you are trying to look more into auras or your energy or your biofield, right, your toroidal field, I highly recommend those videos, right? Okay, so, and just a tangent, that's why I said like certain psychologists or certain psychoanalysts or psychiatrists, that's what it was. That's why I was saying certain psychiatrists are helpful if they allow you to release that energy and be able to receive positive energy, be able to have your aura open and full and strong again. There are certain people that go to psychiatrists because they need that help and they never get it because they are looking at something educationally or from their background that just teaches pharmaceuticals and old, outdated information. Because with my background also, but I will share, since I'm going on this tangent, since my blood biological, right, soul blueprint is a shaman. I have shamanic background and shamanic ancestry on both sides, paternal and maternal, I believe is what it's called. But from my father and my mother, basically. Both of them come from shamanic lineages. My mother's bloodline is very strong shamanic gifts, let's just say, right? So I understand and I read people's energy without even speaking to them, right? Their energy speaks first. And I have, gotten these connections with information, with religion, with science. So my abilities and my understanding of people and their energy is heightened. It's very interesting being a college student living on campus, I will say that. But anyway, so if someone is a shaman, right, this is their natural ability and their natural gifts, their natural talents, or their intuition is to help people be balanced in the mind, body, and soul. So what I'm doing in college is trying to just get a degree that helps me back more of what I teach and what I do to be able to, again, bring it to a higher or bigger level, right? So I'm doing a kind of college-wide or citywide. I don't know that I've reached the entire city quite yet, of course, but it's a lot of teaching and helping of people and, certain, I don't want to say clubs or centers, but it's certain departments that I've been able to help teach or present at or, teach at a staff meeting or whatnot. But it's also a very condensed version of holistic health that I've been able to teach. So I have a lot of handouts to be like, hey, I'm just briefly covering this stuff and going over it in a PowerPoint, but take this stuff home, look at it, reflect on it daily if you can, But again, paying attention to the future live streams and the workshops that I will be teaching in a few months, very shortly, is also a way that you can engage and tune in more with the information long term. All right. And again, some of the information is the same, but it's refined to be better understood, more digestible, and to have it more coherent, is what I can say. And I was just working on that workshop when I said in the beginning, I was so giddy and excited because it's like this stuff is really like coming together. Like my understanding is like I have a degree, like I have a PhD in this stuff. You know, I feel like I'm a neuroscientist already. You know, I'm just doing educational neuroscience right now. So yeah, but over time, going back to this, so when we are grounded physically, we are grounded back to the roots and the energy of the earth, aka with the shamanic belief of maintaining the web of life, right? So over time, this natural medicine of grounding helps, or holistic health, right? Because I talked about both in depth today. But over time, this helps us relieve pain and tension in our bodies, as well as remove inflammation and irregular sleep patterns. This improves mental health as well as lowering stress and helps with your absorption of vitamin D levels when you go outside and ground, which leads to better cognitive functioning and reduces the risk of SAD, as I shared earlier, seasonal affective depression or seasonal affective disorder. And then studies as well have found a direct relationship between the amount of bright sunlight and the rate of serotonin, which is a hormone, positive feel-good hormones, of serotonin production in the brain, with levels being lower or lowest in the winter during the year. So when sunlight hits the retina through your eye, right, signals are sent to the brain via the retinograph. It's spelled RETINORAPHE. I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce that. But during that, via that retinograph tract, which triggers the release and production of serotonin in your central nervous system. Okay? So that is the scientific, the spiritual, and the religious explanations of grounding holistic health and maintaining that balance of mind, body, and soul. All right? My name is Jazziel. I'm a holistic health practitioner, shaman / grounding coach, and that is why everything fits together. Religion, science, spirituality, they are all saying the same things about how to be healthy and to how to have a strong spirit or a strong soul, you could say, right? So with that being said, remember that we are energy as well as blood, plasma, water, and electricity. So remember, your brain is 90% water. If you're dehydrated, it affects everything related to your brain functioning. And your brain functioning relates to everything in your nervous system, in your body, in your fascia, okay? You literally cannot function if your brain is not properly functioning. And if your brain is not properly functioning, your gut, your gut microbiome specifically, right? The things that you're intaking is not helping your body flourish or be in balance or succeed throughout the day, you could say, right? And if you're not sleeping and resting and grounding, you are constantly going to be triggered, constantly in that sympathetic activated nervous system response, okay? So psychotherapy, physical therapy, rehabilitation, all of these processes, all of these systems and routines and things that you do are important when they are properly informed. Not when it's Western medicine, not when it's pharmaceuticals, not when it's a drug with crazy side effects, not when it's a Band-Aid addressing the surface layer issue or the symptom and ignoring the root cause, okay? So when you're looking for a doctor or for a practitioner or a specialist or a coach of whatever sort, a health coach of whatever sort, make sure that your energy and your body is healthy and rested after you receive treatment or you receive help from them or from that particular system, let's say, right? And that is the way that you will be able to have that balance of mind, body, and spirit or soul, okay? Is if you're going to a doctor that is not taking you seriously, okay, that's not something that is helping your health, right? That's not something that's helping your energy. That's not something that is allowing you to rest, digest, and recover, right? So the same thing, if you're seeing a coach of any sort, a sports coach, a health coach, a life coach, a therapist, right? You need to make sure that you are growing and being able to, see things differently if you're in that triggered state. But also, you need to make sure that their coaching is helping you to calm down, okay? Is helping you to improve your health. Not something that's bringing you more stress, more things to worry about, more possibilities of what the problem could be. No, you need someone who is able to identify the energy and the overall root cause of what you're going through, okay? This is the same thing for relationships. It doesn't even matter if it's a specialist or a healthcare provider or healthcare professional, whatever, like everything I just shared, right? It matters in relationships more because that is someone who has direct access, like in this, poster I showed, to your aura, right? You could have a coworker or a teacher or a boss or a roommate or someone that directly affects your energy because you are around them either daily, on a daily basis, or you are around them for majority of your week, okay? So you have to take all these things in mind. How is it affecting my spirit? How is it affecting my body? How is it affecting my mind? Okay? When you look at relationships, either with family or interpersonal relationships, friends, business, neighborhood, community, or romantic relationships, whatever it is, you need to make sure that it is beneficial, helpful, is allowing, meaning helping you to grow, helping you to become more stable, if that is the case. And it is something that is improving your health. If you feel like you're suffering around this person, if you feel like you're drained around this person, if you feel like your life has gotten worse around this person, if you feel like you are completely tired or drained after interacting with this person, you need to take a step back and immediately ground. Immediately look at that mind, body, soul aspect of the issue. Okay, and that's free healthcare, free consulting, free spiritual mentorship right there, right? There are a lot of things in this world that we feel as humans or as people, especially in the country I live in the United States, that a lot of people feel like things are out of their control. But in reality, a lot of things are happening to redirect our energy. And when you take a step back and you look at, what am I getting out of this? Even on social media, I try my hardest to not doom scroll and to not look up certain hot topics and to not, I don't even use social media other than YouTube and Facebook, but I'm not sitting on Facebook arguing with people in the comments. I'm not sitting on YouTube looking at celebrity gossip and drama. I'm not keeping up with politics no matter what passes, honestly, because the thing is, if that energy that we put into watching the video, consuming the content, commenting, reacting, even if you don't comment, if you're reacting mentally, emotionally, spiritually to it, you are sending your energy directly towards that outcome. So with the rise of technology being integrated into almost every part of our life, with the rise of AI, with the rise of all these apps and all these things that they want you to make an account for and download and be in the loop with, make sure that you are taking a step back and assessing your energy, okay? Because the biggest thing right now that I could say is when one of those things is off balance, everything else is out of balance. All right? If your mind is out, if you're out of your mind, if you are not in control of your mind, if you feel like you have intrusive thoughts coming into your mind, you have everything else spiritually, physically, emotionally out of balance. Same thing, like I said, if you're having relationships that are not helping you maintain that balance, everything else can potentially become out of balance, okay? And I'm sharing this message out of love and never fear, okay? So I want to say peace to you all, and just think about these things. It's an hour and 20 minutes of me talking and sharing and explaining, but this is the whole entire point of my existence. To be that bridge between science and religion and bring spirituality as its full purpose and the education behind the purpose of it to the world. Okay? Again, thank you all. I am Jazziel, holistic health practitioner, shaman, grounding coach. If you have any questions, I put my business card up earlier, but more information is in the bio of my services, certifications, and email to contact me. And I'm wishing you all the best.